I'm Jane Applegath. This is the Epic Vision Zone where bold ideas meet extraordinary leaders. What if your body contains a living communication system that isn't working against you but has been trying to guide you all along? And what if the key to great health is hidden in an incredible network inside your body called fascia? For decades, fascia was one of the most overlooked systems in the body. Today, it's becoming one of the most exciting frontiers in health science, with research exploding by more than 300% since 2012. Brian, Dr. Brian Geier, known as Dr. Fascia, is changing how we understand pain, healing, and human performance, educating us on this remarkable living network that touches nearly every one of the body's 70 trillion cells. A chiropractor, educator, and wellness expert, Brian bridges cutting edge fascia research with ancient healing wisdom, energy medicine, emotional embodiment, quantum physics, and the mind body connection. Rather than treating symptoms alone, he helps patients uncover the hidden patterns that may be stored deep within the body's fascia system, whether that's from physical trauma, chronic stress, or unresolved emotional experience. His mission is simple yet profound: educate, empower, and help people reconnect with the incredible intelligence already built into their bodies. If you're ever wondered why pain refuses to go away, why stress seems to live in the body, or how science and ancient wisdom can work together to unlock better health, then this conversation may completely change the way you think about healing. Welcome, Brian, to the Epic Vision Zone.
Thank you for having me. I am speechless with that introduction. You couldn't have said it any better than if I could have written it myself.
Well,
Wow.
well, thank you. Well, it's all you. And as we were talking earlier, Brian and I, we were just saying, wow, this is a fascinating topic and one that I'm personally very interested in. So let's get started. What inspired you, Brian, to do the work that you do today?
I think it started emotionally.
Mm.
All the way back when I was 10 years old, pretty much starting at 9, actually, I unfortunately was losing my father to lung cancer. And it just so happened that a family, my dad's great friend was from the church and he was a chiropractor. All I knew was that chiropractors put hands on people and adjusted them. And I began massaging my father and trying to work out his mucus in his lungs as a child. And I never really thought past it. I knew that was where I was headed. I don't even know when it set in, but I knew I liked science. In middle school, high school, I went and got my bachelor's of science in physiology at the University of Arizona. I went right off into Los Angeles College of Chiropractic. And what changed my trajectory toward the fascia was my 8th term. We had to learn about other professions, and it was the DOs, Doctors of Osteopathy. And the quote from 1901 by Dr. Andrew Still was, "Fascia is the cause of all disease." And, I'm in school learning about everything, and I was like, well, that's a pretty bold statement. I got slapped in the face and said, there's some truth to that. I need to go investigate. So I got my degree, spent the first 5 years of chiropractic doing the sports related myofascial release, a lot of elbows in the tissue, kind of making people wince in the pain. And then it was 3 back-to-back patients over the course of 8 months where they came in as teachers. And
Mm.
I had a woman who was a medical intuitive who came into my office as a patient and let me know that she could see energy and she could see in a sixth sense reasons why people were in pain that were outside of the human analysis. And I said, well, this is pretty interesting. I've heard of people like you. Another patient came in and gave me Dr. David Hawkins' books and the science of mind and started giving me information on consciousness. And I started putting together then fascia and emotion and consciousness. And that led me into acupuncture and Chinese medicine in terms that the physiological chiropractic PT understanding of fascia is that everything is one large chain. You have a lateral chain that bends you to the side. You have a front chain that pulls you forward. And this is going to help with biomechanics. Once I learned by studying just a couple books on acupuncture and Qigong that 4,000 years ago, the lung meridian, that is the deep front arm fascial chain, also stores grief. And that's when I said, okay, Dr. Hawkins was suppressed emotions are the cause of all disease, and they live in acupuncture meridians. And I said, well, I have a niche, I think, here, because we in America have no clue what chi is. And I felt there was a language barrier issue that I think fascia is going to start to explain what acupuncture is. Quantum physics is going to start to explain what consciousness is in the form of a frequency wave. And I have, for the past 8 years, been trying to put all of this together into something that we can start teaching mainly Americans, but everybody in the world, to have a more clear, concise understanding, one world answer, if you will, for healthcare.
Mm. I love that. Oh my gosh. I love your curiosity because that's what's led you here. I mean, your story as well. Thank you for sharing that when you were younger. It's interesting. It's almost like the universe sent you that unfortunate incident that, you know, the lung cancer for your father. But I feel like this, like you said, this is what you were meant to do. This is why you're here. You're a healer. But back in those days, like you said, you know, that was just something that happened. But like you and I most likely agree, nothing is coincidence. But
Right.
the fact that you got all this information today and the fact that you've got this background, but yet you look at things and go, that's interesting. How does that work? I love that because that is where you lead yourself into the possibilities. And there's so many possibilities with this. So, well, thank you for that story. Fascinating. I'm with you. I believe there's a huge market here, but also how we understand our bodies, our minds, and how it's all one, not just one piece, but a whole. So,
Yes.
yeah, absolutely. Well, exactly then explain to the audience what is fascia and what do you mean when you say fascia is the cause of all diseases?
Great question. I'm going to keep things kind of simple and layman so that everybody can understand it. Fascia is your connective tissue system, and it's comprised of two parts. One is a collagen webbing that I think everybody's familiar with, but the magic is not in the webbing. The magic is in the second part that makes up fascia, which is the extracellular matrix. This is what we call water. So we all know we're made up of 70% water. This water is living outside of the cells and inside the cells and little parts that make up the blood. But what we've come to find with the new age fascia research is that it's phase 4 water, which is a structured water that is also gelatinous in its form. And that right there, I go, okay, so now I'm into quantum physics. Everything with physics is a frequency wave, and waves are particles that carry information. So right there, I was like, okay, we've got chi, which is energy. And energy, we'll just say for simple terms, is electricity. And the main thing that fascia research taught me, Thomas Myers is the GOAT. He's the massage therapist who wrote Anatomy Trains. And he's the one that dissected and mapped out and wrote this great text showcasing all the structures in the fascia and the muscles that are all integrated as one movement pattern and one unit. Everywhere there is a fascia chain of muscle, connective tissue, nerves, vessels is correlated to an acupuncture meridian. In Chinese medicine, everything can be simplified to energy flow. If your acupuncture meridian is filled with chi and it is not stagnant, you do not have pain or disease. So I'm like simple. I'm like, okay, we make things really complicated in America. We've got to dumb it down. And if it's that simple, how do we teach that and create that within the body? And this cell to cell communication in the American fascia research understanding is communicating at 720 miles an hour, which is also the speed of sound, which is a sound wave. So that's where my brain goes. It's the speed of intention. It's the speed of thought. So now that we've got wave energy, and the greatest example and analogy is get out of the water when it's a lightning storm, because what happens if lightning strikes the pond? It's going to electrocute all of the water. So if the body's 70% water, fascia is the watery system communicating at 720 miles an hour, cell to cell. This is my information highway of what's really going on. And to compare it as a chiropractor, where we're all about the nervous system, and don't get me wrong, I love the nervous system, but it's only communicating at 170 miles an hour. And if you think about 170 miles an hour, making my fingers touch, this is a nerve impulse. But this was when I went back to neurology and cellular neurology. There is a plus and a minus voltage gated channel that a plus hits a minus, opens up an ion activated channel, and then sends the electrical nerve impulse to the next part of the cell, conducting the cell. So I'm like, if fascia is faster than the cell, fascia is the webbing around the nerve cell, prepping the nerve cell for function. So what that means then is my intention to move to the left is happening before my brain and my nerves are doing it. And that's consciousness.
Okay. Wow. That was great. I'll have to listen to that again. But I did follow you for most of it. Yeah. Wow. There was so much information there. Fascinating. It really is so powerful. And the connections that you make along the way, I could see that. I mean, that's how my mind works. Amazing. So the fascia then is it like our internet connection, or is that saying
Sure,
too
that's a good
simple?
way to look at it. We're the, and I'm not good with common computerized, information, but like a wireless router. We're the one receiving the information from another signal.
Okay.
And so that's
Right.
fascia is this, it's the energy system that's conducting your biofield. And if we want to just touch
Oh,
base on the woo-woo biofield, I learned through NASA. And okay, if I study and I hear something from NASA, these guys are physicists. So I put a little credibility up there. They say that the human eyeball can only see a visible light spectrum at 0.003% of all the light that actually exists in the universe. So I said, you better get used to believing in invisible things.
right.
So then that takes us down this road of faith and belief. And that's where Dr. Hawkins comes in and talks about consciousness and really understanding that whatever you hold subject in mind as your belief centers is driving all of that receiver energy input. You'll receive information, but your belief system will not receive the truth because you're now in control of what you want to take in as information or deny as information.
Right. Yes, absolutely. What you perceive, you receive, and only that.
And my wife
Absolutely.
and I these
Yeah.
days are having so much, it's not fun. We're living in a time where it's like humans can really believe in anything they want. and they're just going to stay strong to it, even if it's fake news or not true. It's like, oh my gosh, we're entering into psychosis with everybody's belief systems.
Yeah, no, we really are a lot more powerful than we think. It's just
Mm-hmm.
unlocking that consciousness for sure. Fascinating. So one question then was the disease. How does this actually lead us into dis-ease? If the system
Okay,
collapses, is that it?
I'll talk about it in terms of where the majority of understand it through physical, cellular biology and anatomy and physiology, and then how it correlates to frequency and energy and physics. Just to preface, I studied biology, chemistry, physiology, and 15 years removed, I'm a little upset with that level of science 15 years ago when I've come to the realization that really all we needed to learn was physics as a part of what is the science that really conducts cellular activity. So, um, fascia is a webbing that when the nervous system is under stress, and stress is used too ambiguously these days because stress is a conglomeration of multiple stacked emotions: overwhelm, anxiety, unworthiness, insecurity, people pleasing, effort unreceived, resentment. It's all emotions that are built up in the body that lead to a dysregulated nervous system that has you in, I don't feel safe. And now my heart rate's going up. My nervous system is creating fight or flight, consistent uh, hyperactivity, which causes chronic low grade muscle contraction. As the muscles start to contract from the neurology, that's when the connective tissue, as the wireless router sensing information, is like, hey, your upper trap, you're really liking it short these days, and you're liking your head pulled forward, and you're telling me that over and over and over again. I'm going to grow some collagen webbing and kind of help you out because you're working really hard. And so you start creating this armor. Fascia, as it continues to grow layer by layer at random diagonals, at random angles, it becomes 1 degree less than Kevlar, just this steel armor capabilities. It can really turn into 2,000 pounds of force. So just imagine a half of an elephant sitting on your trap at a 1 inch square inch, and then try to move your head, and you go to a chiropractor and they want to adjust your joint when the tension isn't in the joint, it's in the tissue. So I was always the chiropractic student going, excuse me, sir, what about the pulley system? What if I'm a soccer player, which I was, and I kicked the ball 1,000 times to one in my right leg versus my left? My right quad's going to be tighter. It's going to grow 1 inch shorter. It's going to pull my pelvis forward and create a permanent postural misalignment at the joint level. I'm not going to keep adjusting the joint when I've got steel in my quad that needs to be released a half an inch. So I'm going to treat you how you want to be treated. That compression then is squeezing on the nerves. And the nerves are sending a signal to the spinal cord up to the brain telling you, I don't like what position you're in. I'm feeling discomfort. I'm in a state of dis-ease. I don't have ease in my movement, in my motion, and I'm wanting you to know about it. And so we have this everywhere. We have it in 25 different locations, and if I touch you, you have it in 100 locations. And guess what they came up with the word for that as a diagnosis? Fibromyalgia. I've got to call this symptom something. So we'll have got to diagnose it. If I touch them in 18 points and they have anxiety and they have a hyperactive immune system and they're in pain all the time, that is this lump sum of a chronic dysregulated nervous system with chronic myofascial pain syndrome, and they're emotional.
Wow.
Okay. So then
Wow.
if we go one more and we go into some other system called the lymph system, in American culture, it's my understanding that medical doctors in like a hospital setting, in a primary care setting, that are looking at chronic inflammation all the time, chronic disease, they would suggest, and they can respond to this podcast if they want and say, no, we don't believe that. But I believe they think it is toxicity overload in the body, in the blood, that is the cause of all disease. And so that is, again, let's go back to fascia being the cause of all disease. Lymph is a passive, watery system. It might just also be known as that extracellular space where the cells are dumping toxins out of the cell. Those toxins are now in a watery river known as the fascia, the second part of fascia, which is the extracellular matrix that has to be a river and get to a lymph node and be pumped into the lymphatic vessels, into the heart, into the kidneys, and peed out of the body. If my nervous system is dysregulated and I have steel all over my body, I now have a fascial webbing clamp on my lymphatic river, creating a result of chronic toxicity overload buildup in the body.
I
I
get it.
still need to address the fascia as the multi-system trillion unit connector piece that can then, and this is where however many years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 10 years ago, Harvard came out with a study that said fascia is the meta system. To me, that screams most important system. If the fascia is clamping on my cardiovascular system at a vascular level, it's going to create high blood pressure. If it's clamping on my lymphatic system, I'm going to get a liver overload. I'm going to get a spleen overload. I'm going to get an autoimmune condition. People don't even realize that if you start opening up your pelvic floor, doing side lunges over and over and over again, you're going to improve hormone function to the testes, to the ovaries, because now the hormone that's in the blood has to come out of the vessel and into the extracellular space to get to the organ. If I have a fascia extracellular matrix clamp, hormone can't even communicate at a cellular level.
Right. Yeah.
So this is where we're at, and it's a very exciting time to be in the fascia space because it's answering a lot of questions.
Wow. Is it ever? And I love that picture that you painted, that it becomes armor, that your whole body just becomes like it's clamped within armor. That really makes sense, that nothing is moving and everything that should move and clear out becomes toxic because you're clamping down. Like you said, the lymph nodes, nothing. Yeah. Oh my gosh, you're absolutely right. Well, so what comes first then? Neurological dysregulation or the fascial imbalance?
Good question. This is when I had to go into, because I too want to know the answer, chicken or the egg. Quantum physics is a invisible science to the naked eye that is the higher order of operation over the physical sciences, aka the physical form. So now we get into emotions, creating frequency waves from the heart through the webbing into the cells, into the nervous system. So a belief system of, if I eat sugar, it will clog my arteries, it will grow fat, it will ruin my pancreas, and I'll get diabetes. As a being who is connected to a oneness universe, my individual mind is connected into a universal mind, the law of cause and effect. If I believe in that, I'm now subconsciously writing a program where that will start to take place. So 9 out of 10 suppressed emotions and diseases are generated from subconscious emotional states and belief systems. So we're not even aware that this is happening because people don't even go, what are my belief systems? Why do I believe in that? They're not analyzing it. So now I have ice cream in the fridge and I want some, but I'm trying to lose 10 pounds because the 10 pounds, I don't feel comfortable in it. I don't have confidence. I feel insecure. I don't have a partner. I'm lonely. I don't feel loved. If I don't have a partner, I believe I'm not loved. I'm unlovable. I'm unworthy. So they're in this rabbit hole of, I ate the ice cream, now I'm done eating the ice cream, and I feel guilty and ashamed because secretly I know I had cucumbers in the fridge. And cucumbers are healthier for me. So Hawkins describes guilt. The reason I love Hawkins as a man is that he took quantum physics and he created a chart of emotions, 0 to 1,000, 0 being dead, 1,000 being God consciousness, source, energetic state of frequency. And he said all of the emotions ranging from 0 to 1,000, or 0 to 200, I'm sorry, are all lower level vibrational emotions that give the body the ability for pain, disease, and suffering to occur. When you rise out of the emotional state 200 and above, primarily to 540, unconditional love, rapid removal and reversal of disease and pain exists based on vibration. So guilt is a 30 level consciousness. Shame is 20. Those are the two lowest emotions you can put on yourself at your free will to believe you deserve those emotional energies, and then you hold them and they become a part of your temperament. And if you hold worry long enough, it becomes a personality trait. And what he coins that as is a buildup of suppressed emotions. Gosh, where are my keys? Where are my keys? I don't know. Okay, there they are. I don't want to process fear anymore because I got to get to work. So I choose not to worry anymore, even though my heart's racing and I'm anxious and that really scared me. I think to myself, they were just lost car keys. I don't need to experience worry anymore. That's so silly. And you do that over and over and over again. You build up this emotional dysregulation, this reaction, and that energy grows in the biofield as an invisible softball size energy that starts to deny healing energy running through these acupuncture meridians, running through the chakras of ancient Indian culture. And it's a little long-winded, but this is this awareness that our emotions are causing vibrational energies that are putting clamps on our fascia from an outer quantum space into physical form.
Yeah. So it sounds like it's the neurology comes first, the thought process, the beliefs, whatever that is. Like you said, if you believe sugar is going to give you diabetes, or if you believe that is going to make you lonely and out of shape and et cetera, it will. It will actually, it will add to that process because you're feeding it. You're actually feeding.
Right.
Your thought is feeding the body what it believes. Yeah, very powerful.
It's
Yeah.
instantaneous because the thought will
Yes.
spark an immediate emotional response.
Right.
And then when you understand electromagnetics, like everybody has seen the picture that your heart as a legitimate organ is also a quantum electromagnetic organ, shoots out a 20-foot field, biofield energy, and the brain only shoots out about a 3-foot field. So if you want to know where to live, get out of your head and into your heart. That's what they mean. My head is my nervous system, which is my ego, and the ego is misunderstood. Ego is your human birthright of thought process for survival. I need a brain. That's a truck coming at me. I see it. My eyes are judging the speed. My eyes and brain are connected to my muscles and my heart rate. And now I run and jump and get out of the way. Thank you, brain. That's really about all we should be using with the brain, is to keep our physical vessels alive out of immediate danger. The heart is where you should be living when you experience life. And that's the emotional human form. Because vibrating at guilt for 10 years straight will cause a low-grade vibrational energy. It'll shrink your aura. It'll dim your energetic chi, therefore allowing for disease to start to set in because you don't have a robust energetic voltage being read by the cells to stay healthy. Cells want negative 25 millivolts for their mitochondria, for their endoplasmic reticulum, for their nucleus, for their DNA writing of genes to work properly needs a negative 25 millivoltage. That's why it's all about physics.
That's great information. I love it. I mean, I understand about the energy and all the things that affect us. So the emotional connection. So what have you witnessed in your practice that convinced you that the emotions are stored in the body, and how do you diagnose this?
Good question. It all started about 7 years ago with a patient that I was treating for chronic neck pain 2 to 3 times a week for a year. One of those people that came into my life as a teacher said, "Have you ever read Emotion Code by Dr. Bradley?" And I said, "No." So I devoured it in 3 days. Have you read Emotion Code?
I'm familiar with it. I haven't read it, but I do
Okay.
have it.
So he basically described everything that I was already learning, and using Hawkins to piece the pieces together. He said these suppressed emotions live in your body as softball size energies, that when you're holding shame at a lower level vibration, the healing God energy or source energy can't get through the softball. It goes around it, and all of those cells stuck in that softball size of lower level emotional energy undergo metaplasia. They can't heal. They undergo genetic cellular changes toward cancer and toward disease. So I said, "Oh, this is interesting." He read, or there was a chapter on a blocked heart called a heart wall. And so I was already doing muscle testing. Muscle testing is a way to communicate to another human at a subconscious level. I kind of don't call it subconscious anymore. I call it talking to their quantum higher self being through a high energy communication, more invisible energy that I believe is there, and I can palpate it with my hands. I can feel it. So I muscle tested on this patient. Yes, she has a heart wall. I started to undergo them. I had her re-feel them. The way that you let go of emotional strongholds, the only way, is to go back to the time, remember the trauma, and attempt to feel the suppressed emotion that is trapped all over again. Because suppressed emotion causes all disease. By re-feeling it and crying and talking to me, who's holding a loving space for them, or family members, to express the emotion, will allow for the energy to basically match, grab, and pull out of the cells. And when you add the breath of inner peace, love for yourself, knowingness that this is the true way, and you surrender to this process by re-feeling it, I started to feel through palpation. I can palpate the biofield over patients and feel force field thick energy in my hands as a form of an objective finding. And when I walk them through it and I'm holding space and they're feeling feelings and I feel jolts in their body, this is like an energetic, boom, it got through. And I'll go, did you sense that? They'll go, yeah. And then a coolness will come over the body and I'll go, are you sensing that coolness? And they'll go, is that the air? I'll go, no, the air is off. I did that on purpose because I need you to go into awe. I need you to know that we're working in an invisible quantum field through our intention, through our willingness to love ourselves, be vulnerable, and an essence of coolness is washing over you. And your skin cells are feeling it. And that gives them faith. That gives them belief that, okay, maybe this is a process that I should continue to try to do at home. And I'm in it to teach them. I'm not in it to be the healer, to do it for them. I want to teach the man to fish. This is what we're all here to learn, and it's not taught. So once that patient let go of the heart walls that she set in at age 3 and age 5, because the heart is the organ that feels all feelings. It can feel love, it can feel compassion, it can feel the joy, but it's also the organ that feels the anxiety, the overwhelm, the I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy enough. Hey, Grandpa, look at my drawing. I don't have time for that right now. I'm overwhelmed. I've got to get this chicken. It's overboiling and he didn't mean to dismiss you. But in that 4-year-old moment, you felt, I'm not worthy of my grandpa's attention because I'm a 4-year-old. And they hold a block on the heart. And they do that over and over and over and over again, that eventually that 4-year-old, that 5-year-old says, enough of this pain over and over. I'm going to put a quantum clamp over my heart, and I don't want to feel from there anymore. I want to come up into my survival mode brain, and I now will start analyzing everything in life from here. And I will be mathematical about it. I will be analytical about it. And you know those people. It's like talking to something that we can't quite break through and get them to be vulnerable and get them to say sorry and get them to feel. They're the ones with the heart walls. So I let it go. I felt the energy clear. Her range of motion improved dramatically. She could look up. It wasn't fixated like arthritis. And the fascia just, it integrated and opened up. And then she stopped coming back because her chronic pain went away.
Yeah. The only word I have is magic, but it's not magic. It's very profound. But it's knowing all of these layers that you talk about, that you've studied, and now that you're putting into practice, that makes what you do so unique. In other words, you're not just looking at the patient like you were taught in school through chiropractic. You have branched out into quantum and the energy fields and the mind body. I mean, it's amazing. And I'm so glad that all of this information is available to us now for people like yourself who can just start, like you said, it's an exciting time to start absorbing this. And now you're not considered a nut. You know, like back in the day, people would think, wow, this person is just off his rocker. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Right. But the world is we're all starting to learn there's so much more. So then, because you've treated people from professional athletes to everyday people, what's the biggest mistake that we make when we're trying to heal our bodies?
There's no mistake. Everybody's at the level of consciousness that they're at. So again, the only mistake is on the doctors for not knowing more before they've started to tell all of us what collective belief we should have about inflammation and injuries and arthritis. It's a limiting belief system. So the number one thing above all for healing is I set the intention to remove all limiting beliefs and proclaim the understanding that I am a limitless, infinite, beautiful, powerful being capable of healing. Right. And as I embody inner peace in that knowingness that I can, that's the magic part. The magic through the understanding. And when I look at the Bible, like Jesus said in the Bible, he talked about the law more than he talked about the Father. He was teaching quantum physics. And so
Wow.
we have to believe in the ability to heal, and that in and of itself is this placebo.
Right. Yes, absolutely. We are the placebo, as Dr. Joe Dispenza wrote. Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. What are the subtle signs then our bodies are waving the white flag long before disease appears?
That would be kind of this low grade muscle tension, these chronic aches. Yeah, my left shoulder's always bugging me. Um, and to go back and answer that question a little bit better, um, movement through repetitive stretch and contraction at the fascial level, at a cellular level, that creates friction. And friction stimulates cellular activity, cellular awareness. If I sit at a desk all day and then I choose to play pickleball 3 times a week, and then I have rotator cuff strain, tendonitis, tear, I went from really fixated fascia to really activated stretch and then more contraction in that pec. I'm just building more density on top of density. When the body stretches and contracts, it opens up the cells, the muscle tissue, the ligaments, the nerves, and it allows for optimal alignment and cellular spacing for cellular communication, nutrients to come in and out, and it preps the body for any and all movement. It's also how you anti-age. So
Mm.
my thing with yoga, when I was really stiff, a soccer player, had my beer drinking days in college, I was inflamed. Holding a downward dog, my calves felt like they were ripping and it was uncomfortable. And holding a twisted warrior pose for a dominant right footed soccer player already created a spiral imbalance in my body. And if I did my left foot forward and held warrior, I was activating the already tight spiral chain in my body, making the next half of yoga miserable because I just flared up my low back. And so, using my own experiences, I go to Qigong. I go to the guy on the hillside in China doing 300 lateral inner thigh stretching, contracting, and it makes way more sense to me. In the 2018 study, there's a fasciocyte cell buildup around 2 layers of fascia, and when those cells sense friction, they tell hyaluronan to excrete water into the extracellular space to create lubrication and allow for
Mm.
glide to occur. And that's what we mean when we say hydrating. Washing is what I'm calling it. Yoga's great for the people already flexible. I need more washing out of yoga. I need more washing out of Pilates. Don't stop at 10 reps in Pilates. I need 40. Because in Qigong, they're saying do 3 sets of 100. And so my people on my Instagram, they're like, 40 reps. I said, yes. And I was coining the phrase fascia 40 as a nice little alliteration marketing to prep the brain and educate you. You need more reps. And don't stress the stretch in the first 10 reps because your fascia is dense, dehydrated, clamping the nerves, tugging and anchoring on the joint capsule, the joint cartilage. So take it easy in the beginning. Just get the motion going.
It's like the elastic, getting it to stretch before it snaps, but working it, just
Yes.
working it and working it. Because I have seen your incredible, everybody needs to check out Brian's Instagram page because I do everything he says on the page, all the stretching and the movement. I think it's great. And yes, you're right. We need to move. And in this sedentary life that we have, unfortunate today, it's something that's needed so much more than we even realize. Certainly, the younger generation is in great need of this because they are learning to sit and look at a screen, unfortunately, all day long. Not
Right.
like the days before. which is not good for anybody's body or brain. So what is widely, here's a question that I'd love to ask. What is a wildly accepted belief in your industry that you think is flat out wrong?
Well, to me, this is where even my wife hates this because you don't have professional manners and etiquette and protection over your doctorate degree when you're not holding a boundary between doctor and patient, and you can't be so open-minded and aloof because you could get sued. And that's the part of medicine that we have. If we add spirituality into it, and the doctor says you have 6 months to live, they've put a belief system into your head. They're going to let your placebo and your belief run with that. Having a little compassion, having a little love, and say, I don't know. But go home and believe that with every breath, you're exhaling a white light, a pink light, a purple light, whatever is your favorite color that makes you feel warm and fuzzy and whole and safe. And just breathe for 30 minutes every day, loving yourself and telling yourself you're amazing and believing in the impossible.
Right.
Don't give up. Don't say, yeah, that's arthritis. You'll have pain. Go put some ice on it.
Mm-hmm.
Go try PT. Go do some stretches. The things that I'm seeing are these like halfway treatment plans because the doctors are like, I don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's a fine line of professional covering your own butt, as we say in the doctor world. But if you can build enough love and rapport that the patient isn't going to sue you because you're actually loving them and caring for them, even if you're accurate, they're not going to come after you because you gave them energy, you gave them love, you cared about them.
Right. Yeah. You're absolutely right. Because it's human to human, it's the connection. And when you have that connection, there's trust, there's belief. And you're right. If you tell someone that they only have so long to live, if you tell someone they'll never walk again, I've had guests on here who have experienced that. And it's the strong-willed ones that said, no, I don't accept that. And you know what? They walked again.
They
But
did.
unfortunately, the majority of people believe what they're told. And then they go and they don't walk again. They don't get better. It's the ones that know that there is more power within them, the possibility instead of the impossibility. And so, yeah, it's you're right. It's believing in that, and it's the unfortunately the litigiousness of the U.S. Like there are so many ways to ruin an individual such as yourself, but we won't put that out there because I think I love Rumi, and one of his sayings is, "Who you seek is seeking you," and I believe that's yours because the
Well,
people that are meant to find you will find you. Yeah,
my my
absolutely.
my second teacher, he told me, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. So it's
Yes.
same thing.
It's the same thing. Absolutely. Yeah. So if everyone listening wanted to do just one thing, Brian, tomorrow morning to improve their health and their fascia and their overall well-being, what would you tell them to start doing?
I would have them in the morning drink a big glass of water, stand with their feet hip distance apart, and just start twisting side to side. So a rotational twist. While inhaling for 2 twists, exhaling for 2 twists. And believing that as you're breathing and moving, you are cultivating an energy, an essence that is healing all aspects of your cells, and that movement is hydrating you. And in the 2 minutes of motion, you can have faith and belief that you will feel looser in 20 minutes, you'll feel younger, you'll have more energy. And when you accomplish that difference in sensation, you will have faith that hydrating the fascia and loving yourself at the same time really creates the robust energy of thriving that keeps your cells alive and healthy.
I love that. You're using several different tools there, but I love it. Yes, because you're moving, you're planting a belief, you're breathing, which we now know is very powerful. So yes, and that's so simple. That's
Yeah.
that's the key to a lot of what you instruct is it's very simple. It's like when you tell people you need to move more. Oh, I can't do yoga. I can't bend that way. Oh, I can't go to the gym. I don't want to lift weights. Oh, I don't want to go running. I'm not I'm not a runner. No, movement doesn't have to be. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, it's the excuse, right? But it's like movement, any movement, just simple movements. I try to tell my sister that it's just because she's not an exerciser. She has asthma. And, it's like, if she bought a treadmill, does she use it? No.
No.
But I said, that's,
Well,
yeah.
the rotation I'm learning with movement and with like energy of the universe, spiral energy is really what we're made of. And so that twisting is
Mm,
spiraling the vertebrae. It's spiraling the calf into the femur, into the hip, into the neck,
mm,
into the shoulder. It's activating your spleen meridian, which in Chinese medicine is the 99% cause of all disease due to dampness, which is basically drinking and eating cold things. So there's so many, we could talk for hours and hours how fascia, the meta system, is connected to everything.
wow.
That's why that I said twist instead of touch your
Yeah.
toes. I want your spleen
Right.
meridian being activated because nobody's doing that.
Right. Right. Well, we'll all start twisting then. That sounds great to me. That was great back in the day. So, if every person watching this interview, Brian, understood one profound truth about their body, what would you want that truth to be?
Hmm. Ultimately, that you are connected to a limitless, powerful life force.
Mm,
And at your willingness to connect to it, breathe into it, and exhale it into your body as a top down wave, anchoring it into your feet, into earth. If you imagine it, it is being done. And at the level you can believe it and repeat it, a couple deep breaths can really regulate the nervous system, calm the fascia, anchor you into earth, and start a process of undoing any negative frenetic energy into a harmonizing, peaceful, healing energy.
well, thank you. I love that information. So, tell our audience about your fascia fusion classes and your breakthrough tool.
Trying to combine everything that I've learned into some at-home concepts. My fascia tool, the breakthrough tool, is a stainless steel rounded edge tool designed to create shearing. When you use it, back and forth friction stimulates hydration. It helps inflammation. It helps lymphatic drainage. It helps decompression of the joints and the nerves. It's a go-to tool in the shower, in the bathtub. That's why it's steel. It's not
Mm-mm.
battery operated because you can get it wet. And that's a routine that you can use to sweep the body to create more energy flow. The vibration plates, they're oscillation plates actually. I use Life Pro at the moment because it's a lifetime warranty. It's $200 or less, and it should last you your whole life. The oscillation machine creates friction. And so it creates a washing of trillions of cells. So if you do movement patterns, repetitive back and forth movement patterns, yoga-esque Tai Chi on a stimulator, it's more bang for your buck. It's more efficient. I'm just about what can you do in 15 minutes? What can you do in 30 minutes to stimulate hydration, open up the lymphatic channels for toxic release? Removing toxins is the healthiest thing you can do. And it's free through movement. I'm all about healthcare that is free because we are the ones that heal ourselves. So those are two tools that promote that concept. And I'm an inventor, I'm a creator. Talk to me in 6 months, we'll see what the next idea is, but that's what's going on right now. I need to come up with live workshops or pre-recorded $9.99 videos that people can buy the plate and do it at home. That's really why, that's what social media is teaching me right now. A 3-month glow up, and I've got to get some online packages set in motion. I'm doing this podcast before I have those out, but stay tuned.
Wow. Well, that's wonderful. In fact, that leads me to my question was how best can our audience connect with you?
You can connect with me anyway. I am a one-man show at the rate that I can tolerate the incoming requests, but you can, on my website, I have my phone number, and it is actually my cell phone. So you can call, you can text me. I am using love and connection and caring for my patients to have a connection with me. You're paying for me. So email, DM me, leave a comment. I do my best to connect with you all. And the tagline for me is, I'm here to help in the collective awakening, restore the heart of humanity.
Beautiful. Well, we could go on forever, I know, because I love the work that you're doing, Bryan. And because we're here on the Epic Vision Zone, I have one last question. If your life were an epic story, what would the title be?
The ultimate journey through fascia and what it's taught me is don't be afraid to feel and gain the sensation of embodiment.
Love it. Yeah, that makes so much sense. Well, thank you again, Bryan, for reminding us that our bodies aren't broken, that they're intelligent, and that the greatest healing begins the moment we stop fighting our bodies and finally start listening. And once again, for information and to connect with Dr. Bryan Geier, go to the Epic Vision Zone bio pages where you will find all of his social media and direct contact information. And be sure to follow me on Instagram at Jane Applegath. Look me up at janeapplegath.com and like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Epic Vision Zone. Sending you much love and gratitude. Until next time, stay visionary, stay bold, remember to move, and live epically.